The implications for privacy and freedom are frightening. Hello, I'm Steve Forbes, and this is What's Ahead, where you get the insights you need to better navigate these turbulent times. Central banks around the world are examining whether they should create digital currencies. China is gradually enrolling one already. Japan may launch a digital yen by 2026. India is moving ahead in this front. The Federal Reserve is on the bandwagon here, where experiments and studies are already underway. These moves to what is dubbed a central bank digital currency, CBDC, may sound like making sure financial institutions are keeping up to date and ensuring currency stability amid cryptos that are crashing in value, along with the sensational multi-billion-dollar collapse of crypto exchange FTX. Now, advocates say CBDCs will help central banks better fight inflation because they'll have more direct control over the money supply, that it will sharply speed up transaction payments between buyers and sellers in the marketplace, where settlements, most particularly if they cross borders, can take days before a payment clears and you can access your money. It will also help fight money laundering and keep rogue nations from evading sanctions. But central bank digital money is ominous. The downside of governments being able to track digitally every single product or service you buy and sell is chilling. This is where China's headed. India has been trying to reassure skeptics by declaring that transactions would stay, quote, largely anonymous, end quote. But government bureaucracies won't be able to resist the temptation. They'll always have excuses like fighting crime or combating tax cheating. CBDCs would give officials a powerful tool of control and manipulation. It would be an irresistible drug for central banks trying to direct the economy. If they think the economy is overheating, they could freeze a certain percentage of your cash. Or if these poobahs decide that things are too slow, they could punish people who, they conclude, are saving too much. Spend it or lose it, they could decree. If you have undesirable political views, you might not be able to access your money, since traditional cash would be outlawed and your digital cash would be in a government-approved digital wallet. Digital cash would even allow governments to fine-tune monetary policy with individualized interest rates. Then there's the all-too-real challenge of security. Digital cash systems would be a hacker's delight. The treasure trove of data governments would have on every aspect of your life would be breached. As for speeding up payments, that can be achieved with improved electronic transfers. The Federal Reserve already has an experiment with that underway called FedNow. Congress should immediately hold hearings on the subject of central bank digital cash and ban the Fed from creating a digital dollar. Government digital cash is a formula for tyranny. I'm Steve Forbes. Thanks for listening. Do send in your comments and suggestions. I look forward to being with you soon again.
I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles on down of GMS, whom I learned from. Right? Shalom to you brothers out there, learning, teaching this word in truth and sincerity. For your ribs out there, learning silence and staying in order. Right? As we already have heard, you know, if you're in the know, if you're in the loop, if you're in your watchtower, right? You know, this is the Fed now. They are trying to replace Cash App, coincidentally after the death of Bob Lee, the creator and owner of Cash App. You know, it's crazy how, you know, this is a major move and the news outlets is not really playing too much into it. But we already knew this would happen. You know, the government wants full control of the people. Slowly, once they give you that digital dollar, you know, and the dollar is definitely gone. The next step is to be C-hipped. That way, you know, they got you 100, you know, 1,000%. It's crazy because, you know, like he said, they could shut you down if the government feels like, you know, they need the money. They might take a percentage and freeze it, say that you can't use it, or they might penalize you and say you got to use it, right? The fact that they got that kind of power over you just shows you that, we are already in paper chains, man. They're trying to close, they're trying to yoke that chain tighter. Right? There's people tripping over Facebook jail, right? Some people go to Facebook jail and they go crazy for not being able to access their Facebook for 30 days. Let alone what would they do if, they couldn't get a hold of their money, right? This is not a coincidence, man. This is prophecy unraveling at its finest, man. If you have your spiritual eye open to discern these things, you'll be able to see them from a mile away, right? Because everybody was using Cash App, right? And it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. So they basically just trying to get the competition out, man. This tyrannical government is basically a big mob. No different than back in Rome. That's what it is. It's a wicked ass kingdom, man. Let me take you to Luke chapter 2. Wait, Salakia. Luke chapter 2 and verse 1 says, "And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed." Right? So they was always trying to take the people's money way back. This is Rome revised, man. This is that revised Roman Empire, man. And that's what we headed. We headed into some dark times, right? This is the federalreserve.gov, right? It says Federal Reserve announces July launch for the FedNow service. The service will debut with a financial institution and the U.S. Treasury on board. Chicago. Right now, Chicago. If you knew about the mob times, where the liquor. What the fuck? What was that word? Well, when alcohol was illegal, Al Capone, all of them was running around with the selling illegal alcohol. Amalek was heavily involved in there. In Chicago, was one of the Amalek's stomping grounds, for criminal activity, alongside New York. Wherever you heard of mobs and all that, Amalek had their hand on that. Right? It says Chicago. The Federal Reserve announces that the FedNow service will start operating in July and provided details on preparations for launch. The first week of April, the Federal Reserve will begin the formal certification of participants for launch of the service. Early adopters will complete a customer testing and certification program informed by feedback from the FedNow pilot program to prepare for sending live transactions through the system. Certification encompasses a comprehensive testing curriculum with the defined expectations for operational readiness and network experience. In June, the Federal Reserve and certified participants will conduct production validation activities to confirm readiness for the July launch. That's only like 3 months away. It almost sounds like they just came up with this and it'll be ready in July, but they've been working on this for a long time, right? They were just waiting for the perfect time to roll it out. We have a bunch of countries turning their back on the U.S. Everybody's leaving the dollar, so there has to be a void. There has to be filled. So what happens when everybody leaves the dollar? The people will get worried. After the issues with not having the products that China was bringing into us. The the economic crash. You could control the people much more easier if you had their money digitally, if you would have it physically, because people could take their monies out the bank and live on a lam, just off the radar, so to speak, and just trade without the government knowing. But if the government has your money in a digital wallet, there's nothing you could really do. You couldn't even leave the country. You see, because you wouldn't have nothing. You will have nothing. You will go there with nothing. So they really setting this up for some hard times. There's some real hard times coming, and they're basically closing the borders on you. And nobody's gonna be able to get out of here. Right? It says certification compasses a comprehensive testing curriculum with a defined expectations for operational readiness and network experience. In June, Federal Reserve and certified participants will conduct production validation activities to confirm readiness for the July launch. Right? Quote, we should be more excited about the forthcoming FedNow launch, which will enable every participating financial institution, the smallest to the largest, and from all corners of the country, to offer a modern instant payment solution, right? Those words sound familiar, from the greatest to the smallest, right? Said Ken Montgomery, first vice president of the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston and FedNow program executive. With the launch drawing near, we urge financial institutions and their industry partners to move full steam ahead with preparations to join the FedNow service. Right? And that's what they're doing, man. From the least to the greatest, right? This is Revelations 13 and 16. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive the mark. It's a charagma. Look into that word, right? It's an incision. It's a mark. It's a physical thing. In their right hand or in their foreheads. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Right? It's a barcodes, man. Barcodes on people. Says many early adopters have declared their intent to begin using the service in July, including a diverse mix of financial institutions of all sizes, the largest processors in the U.S. Treasury. In addition to preparing early adopters for the July launch, the Federal Reserve continues to engage a range of financial institutions and service providers to complete the testing and certification program implementing the service throughout 2023 and beyond. Montgomery noted the availability of the service is just the beginning, and growing the network of participating financial institutions will be key to increasing the availability of instant payments for consumers and businesses across the country. The FedNow service will launch with a robust set of core clearing and settlement functionality and value-added features. Most features and enhancements will be added in future releases to continue supporting safely, resiliency, and innovation in the industry of FedNow network expands into the coming years. Hey, man, we know what's coming. We anticipate it. We pray that it comes so we can get the hell out of here, man. For no willing, we have that number to get caught up in the chariots, man. And with that, I'm going to say shalom. Kahalo, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. And peace and salutations to your brothers. Stay strong, stay firm, stay diligent, stay on your watchtower. And on to the next one. Shalom.